This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Colby Valve.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 462, Wheeling and Camping with Dogs.
Tonight, Aaron needs a tranny, Coy gets ducked, and Ben has the power.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. Tonight, your hosts are Aaron and Coy, and my name is Ben, and welcome to the Off-Road Podcast.
First up, Ben, didn't you have the power? Like, that was your last tonight that we did?
It was.
Because I always do it in a He-Man voice, and I started to again, and I was like, I just did this. I remember.
That was Ben has the temporary power.
Yeah, that was Ben has the temporary power.
And then it was Ben has the extension cord power, and then it's Ben is running the power.
Yeah, so
you sneaking
Ben
up
has
on
the
it.
power to cry wolf.
Yes, I do. I know I am 100% legal now. So yeah, I finished up the last thing I needed to do. I needed to do neutral isolation bar because on a sub panel you cannot have the neutral and the ground. The neutral cannot be bonded to the panel. So I had to get some little spacer things, and then I had to run the power to a breaker and get a breaker hold down for the main breaker on the panel because it couldn't be its own little separate breaker. So I got that all finished between last weekend and this, and yeah, it's done. I just need the schedule, which I was gonna do for tomorrow because I just finished up tonight, but I have a field trip tomorrow, so it'll be probably Wednesday since I have nothing scheduled for that day, and then it's time to hammer down, get the Forerunner done, and like gone through. I got a few things I gotta do because I've got.
When are you leaving?
What is it? June 21st, I think it is when we take off. So I've got 2 weeks to go do some. I'm gonna put on those front coilovers, and then I want to build a rear box, and I need to get my spare tire flipped.
So you got 17 days.
And a certain point when we get, but he's starting Wednesday. Certain point you get so close, you got to tell yourself, can't mod it. We just run as is because you're in a worse situation if you start pulling it apart.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm. Well, and the plans even changed some more because Henry's friend that was supposed to go with him to summer camp decided that they're not going. So we're like, okay, well, it's just Henry and I. And it's like, and I was like, hey, you want to leave a little early? And then I was like, oh, maybe not. But the last day of school is next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, the 12th. So I'll have a week and a half of time.
1 week.
1 week.
I'll
have a solid week. A solid week of no going to work and all that. So, I mean, it might turn into the... I'm doing it the night before and grabbing the alignment, but I'm gonna try not make that happen.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Here's my question. So you have the summer off essentially, right?
Yep.
Did you do the thing that teachers do where they hold a certain percentage of your paychecks? So you just get paid right through the summer?
Yeah. They automatically do that for us drivers.
Nice. That's awesome. So you're essentially making the same money you were, but
yep,
not working.
Paid through the summer, not working. So it's kind of nice.
Do you get to file unemployment for this time as well?
No, I don't. But there's opportunity. I thought about it, but I don't know. I didn't even apply for unemployment when I wasn't working at the truck shop. But which was dumb, really dumb. I should have done that.
It's really dumb. Your employer pays an insurance for that. So
yeah, I know. But I'm going to I've got like a month of nothing going on, so I might go work a couple side jobs or as a side job. I've been offered to do one that I might take up on just to get the extra money. And I also, this next paycheck has my vacation bonus on it because we don't have vacation. They give us a vacation paycheck. So it's not going to be much because I haven't been there a full year, but it's something.
Nice.
It's good. That'll help pay for tires and alignments and
Oh yeah,
stuff.
all the stuffs. So I'm pretty stoked. And then somewhat not really. I bought a smudge pot, or an orchard heater. I'm pretty excited about it. I was like sitting there. I'm like, this would be fun to take snow camping, except for all the fluid you got to bring to burn.
And it's huge.
No, so actually,
Well, how many gallons an hour does it burn?
I have no clue.
I would be willing to bet that if we did it by weight, like Aaron bringing 2.5 cords in the back of the Nissan probably weighs more than the amount of fuel that you could just put in there and kind of have it going all weekend.
Probably.
You're running diesel in it, or
you can run diesel, used motor oil, kerosene, and like any of the liquids. You can run vegetable oil in it even.
Transmission fluid.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, I decided to pop it open last night. Well, I got it yesterday, and it does disassemble, Aaron. So it pops in 3 different parts. So the base that you see there comes off, and so it's like a little bucket, and then the flue comes off the top. So it breaks down pretty small-ish.
so here's what I'm thinking though. You need to go kind of very bottom side of that, and we plumb in an air chuck, 90 up, come up above wherever the fluid level is with a air chuck so that we can run compressed air into the fluid and get that thing bubbling down inside there, really agitate all that fuel. And I have a feeling that this thing could put out some serious heat.
Oh, it does put out some heat. I mean, so when I had it like this, I was feeling it standing 10 feet back.
Yeah, but putting a leaf blower or something on a fire really is better.
Yeah, leaf blowers are fun. But for those not familiar, they're orchard heaters. They're used to like they'll burn them in orchards to keep.
Have you ever actually seen that like in this century though?
Yeah, they'll use them here. In Washington.
I haven't seen them, but I guess maybe I'm not around orchards.
Any orchards I've been around, they have these giant fans they turn on now to like move the air around.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've not seen that.
Those are all over Eastern Washington. It looks like a windmill, but it's actually a gas powered fan. And they basically just moving the air keeps the frost off. Rather than letting it settle. Yeah. Travis has to slap a turbo on it.
That's kind of where I'm at, but I know those are made out of like a thin galvanized metal. I don't think they're going to withstand what a turbo could do to it, but I'm with you in spirit, and since it's Ben's smudge pot, I'm willing to try.
Yes. I'd have to dig back a ways, but I've got some photos of doing turbochargers and fire gasoline. It's good times. And Dremels.
And Dremels. What about you, Coy?
Well, I went camping over in Central Oregon, and we can talk about that in a second. We got some pictures and stuff. Had a lot of fun. And then I mowed out my shooting range because the grass ear's like head tall. And so I hooked up the old bush hog, mowed that all out. And then I went and bought 2 ducks. Like they're like 6 weeks old. So that's a good time. So I got ducks in my house right now. Yep.
That's Quackers, Coy.
Yeah.
What are you doing with ducks?
I just like them. I had a bunch and then coyotes ate them. So I decided to get some more to fatten up my local coyotes. And
you decided to get some more?
some more. Yeah, we're going through some of the pictures. When is the Gambler? Because while we were in Ukiah last weekend, there were Gambler vehicles all over, Chuck. I'm assuming the Gambler's on like the 20th.
Maybe Chuck's talking about a Washington Gambler.
They did just announce a Washington Gambler for up north.
So
I don't have time. I don't have time in my schedule for a Gambler this year. Unfortunately, it'd be fun, but I don't.
My newest s'more creation is two. I don't remember if they're Little Debbie or Hostess mini lemon bundt cakes, and then I roasted like a fist-sized marshmallow and stuck it in between those two bundt cakes and ate it, and it was by far the best thing that I've ever put in my mouth. I've put a lot of things in my mouth.
Well, I hate to say it, but your wife liked what I made, I think, better. I don't know if it was the best thing she'd had in her mouth before, but
Yeah. There's a lot of chocolate there, though. And,
she came back for seconds. I'm just saying.
I want to point out that those chocolate dessert shells, that's also, or sorry, not chocolate. I brought some taco shells that were like cinnamon Chex Mix taco shells
Like
that we did.
Churro. They were churro, weren't they?
No, they were the cereal. Cinnamon Toast Crunch taco shells.
Oh, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's right.
Essentially churro.
Yeah.
And then we made dessert tacos with marshmallows and chocolate and all kinds of stuff. One of my favorite parts about this is like your son in that moment when we're like busting this stuff out, like his mind gets blown harder and he was like losing. He's like, he couldn't believe like
that you could put things together.
He just couldn't believe like that's what his dad was doing, like making this insane stuff. Like the dad lore you created this weekend with these crazy desserts is next level. Like he's going to tell his friends about this for years.
Well, our next topic next week, to jump ahead here, jumping way ahead, is camp food. And I want to talk about this a little bit more. I want to talk about some customs design, some more ideas, and if you can go over the top, like if you can go too far with camp food. So there's a lot to discuss.
How exuberant do you want to go with your food?
So I've been working on a little something. I didn't take any pictures this weekend because I was too, you know how it is when you get too excited about something, then you have no proof that you actually did it. I did this in the smoker, but I took a cast iron skillet and I put dinner rolls all the way around the outside edge. And then I dumped cheese dip in the middle with shredded cheese and bacon and a block of cream cheese. And then I smoked that for about an hour and a half. And then the dinner rolls, become dinner rolls. And then there's a volcano of cheese dip in it. So as you pull out a dinner roll, it just cheese dip's going everywhere. And it was amazing, Aaron. I know you would have liked it.
Yeah. It's probably better than the cheese dip that I created for camp.
I kind of messed it up a little bit because the video recipe I watched was like, oh, chop up some pickled jalapenos and put it in there. And like, you never really know how hot pickled jalapenos are till like you buy one and they're like pickles, to buy the next ones. And you're scared to use the bathroom for 2 weeks. Like you never know what you're going to get. And so I chopped up a bunch and I tried to kind of flick seeds out as I went, but I got excessive and it was a little hot. And then I forgot to mention this part, the dinner rolls, I put a cube of cheese in the center of. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It was
stop you up.
I'm not saying it was my finest hour, but it was top 10 of my finest hours. It was amazing. So we're going to do it again, though.
That's really good.
Well, Aaron, what about you?
I also went camping. Thanks for spoiling it for everybody, Coy. Here's a picture of my setup. Also, I need to point out this picture here. This is one where it like does a wide angle lens because I didn't want to stand back any farther, so I just used a wide angle to get the scenery in. Unfortunately, it makes everybody look really short and wide. Koi is not that big in real life. And my
I'm pretty
F-150 is
big in
not
real
that
life.
long. You are, but like I feel bad about this photo because you aren't that big. So
It's not gonna hurt my feelings. Like if people see me, they'll be like, "Oh, he's skinnier than I thought he was." Like,
Especially after all that cheese.
Anyways, I got the camp trailer out there for its maiden voyage after being repainted and rewelded and stuff. It did really well. I have since made a modification. You can see here, although it's not very obvious, but I centered the rooftop tent on this rack that I built that goes up and down. And because of that, the edge of the rooftop tent, which is, I should say, the middle, which when it's all closed up is the edge, is 7 inches from the outside face of the trailer. So the annex, it goes up, but then it has to cut in 7 inches. And it puts some weird stresses on the fabric. You can see it's kind of pulled tight at a weird angle all the way around. So I modified it so that I could mount the rooftop tent all the way to one side. So now that inner wall will just be going straight up and down rather than getting yanked on kind of funny. So yeah, it went good. And then on the inside, this is the first that we've done. We've got these beds. They sell them at Cabela's and maybe some other places, but they're called a disco bed. And I know I've talked about it here before, but they all collapse down into a bag, and it's bunk beds basically. So essentially my kids are sleeping on bunk beds down here in the annex. You can see a large dog crate with Tika in the dog crate. And then my wife and I were up top with an abundance of space and no children sleeping with us. So it was pretty good.
Don't the disco beds also turn into like a little couch too?
Yeah, you can, if you want, make it into a couch. It's pretty uncomfortable because these are the wide version or the XL or something like that. So they're deeper. So your legs sit kind of funny. And then also there's one more bracket to make the bed higher, the top bed higher, but I didn't use those because of how it was putting some stress on the fabric in the corner. We'll see with me moving the rooftop tent if it's an issue on our next trip. So Leroy asks if we have Wi-Fi set up. No Wi-Fi.
It's camping. You don't need Wi-Fi.
there was pretty much no service on this camp trip.
Yeah,
Nobody brought their
there was-
Starlink.
Well, actually, we were in the hot springs, Koi, and that one couple were talking about how they had a Starlink up at their campsite because the husband was a real estate guy out of Spokane.
Yeah, he brought Starlink, but I mean, nobody in our group did.
And besides Koi and I, it was our buddy Josh who lives in Prineville. So we had a great time camping. I think it was a good time. There were some
Yeah.
really
Oh,
annoying
Yeah,
kids.
we also brought along every other kid in the campground that decided to just hang out at our camp and yell, as far as I could tell. Just make loud
Yeah.
noises for the whole weekend. It was super cool.
Ugh.
I was hoping you'd
Like
just let
they-
your dog go and just let her just mow through kids.
There was one kid who anytime he approached, he's like, "Is your dog out?" I'm like, "No, she's put away," and then he'd walk right through our camp.
We had to
Um,
start being kind of mean to him, mostly me,
Yeah.
but Aaron as well.
No, I joined in. I joined in. I
That's
was just done.
Yeah, they're talking. You know, these kids are just like wild kids that
They were
I don't know
feral.
what's going on, but
They-
yeah,
Feral
feral children.
children, huh?
Explaining to us how their mom and dad were divorced. And it's like, oh, it's like, better luck next time, I guess. And then they'd sit there and watch you eat food and be like, man, that looks good. You must really like that, huh? You really like that food? You'd be like, oh yeah. I'd just be like, yeah. Oh, that's some of the best I've ever had. Like, man, I've never had that before. I'm like, oh, you should try it sometime. Yeah, you know, I just never give them any, but yeah, I'm a horrible person, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Made it a little bit better for me.
Josh is asking what the tripod is next to the tent. That is a UFO light. So it's got a solar panel on top. It's got some down lights, and then it also has 3 removable lights and a Bluetooth speaker that's also removable. So Pretty
made
handy.
by CVT, and according to Ben, it goes like 15 feet in the air.
Yeah,
I still
Yeah.
remember that.
I
Oh
do
my-
too. Yeah. Besides going camping, we got back and the truck my wife's truck finally went in the shop. We had an appointment that took a month for them to see our truck. And they said that our truck needs a transmission. The good news is that because of all the electronics and how complicated it is, and because it's a 10-speed, the dealer only wants $8,500 to replace it. So not too expensive. I'm, a couple days work and I'll have that money. So that's a real kick in the pants to get that phone call. So I'm calling around for some second opinions, but it sounds like this is a thing for this vintage of Ford trucks, that the transmissions just go out. Doesn't matter what you do, how you maintain them, how abusive you are or aren't. So 120,000 miles on a 2017 F-150.
And Ford Tauruses were like that, where it's just like, just schedule your new transmission at like 100. I think those were like 60,000, but yeah, I think it's a Ford thing where
Yeah.
transmission is a wear item, maintenance item.
Yeah. Consumable.
Yeah,
Is that the
consumable.
word?
I mean, I know Dodge automatic transmissions are back in the day were definitely consumables. Like you just planned, especially if you towed, to replace that thing every 40,000 or so.
Yeah, Josh, I got the 10-speed. So,
Had.
or are you talking about a bicycle? Pretty soon I'm going to have another 10-speed for my wife to ride to go
Well, we
get
don't know.
groceries on.
I mean, is it actually using all 10 speeds, or is it like a 7-speed
I think
now?
no, it's using those. Leroy says that they have a 10,000 or 100,000 mile lifespan. So,
Oh,
not
you got
cool.
20K of gravy. You should be
I got
thankful
20.
for all
Yeah,
that extra
I should.
mileage.
Yeah, I
You're
should be
lucky.
thankful. Yeah. So we'll see. Waiting to get a couple more quotes back to find out how bad it is going to hurt. I'm considering doing the job myself. I did look up the cost of buying a replacement transmission from who was that I told you, Coy?
Jasper.
Jasper, thank you. But the cost of a transmission through Jasper is like $5,800, and that's just a transmission and torque converter. That doesn't include any fluid. It doesn't include taking it to the dealer to have it reflash, because you got to do that kind of stuff on these super duper electronic things. So
I have some ideas that I want to run by you, though. So, have you thought about going down to your local Enterprise and renting a 2010 F-150 for 2-3 weeks? Okay. And then I'm just saying, if in that 2-3 weeks the transmissions got switcherooed on yours and the Enterprise one, worst case scenario, the Enterprise one is bad as well, and it's a rental vehicle, so it's probably gone bad at least once, and they fixed it already. And you'll have to reflash 2 trucks then, but all the same.
I don't know if they're going to have a 2017 F-150 for me to rent.
Well, be very specific when you call.
I'm looking for I'm definitely not going to reach out to U-Haul. No, I'm not reaching out to U-Haul for one of those. You know the kind of people who drive U-Hauls. People like us.
I agree. But if you got to be specific about the mileage, you get one with like 130 on it, so the transmission's already gone bad and been replaced.
I see.
Yeah. Also, I've heard that if you buy a vehicle, you have like a 3-day period to decide you don't want it, especially if you kind of tell the dealer, can I try it? So if you thought about just like, man, I'm not sure if F-150 is what I need, and then kind of try and buy one from a dealer and then take it back like 3 days later.
Yeah, a long stall.
Just be like, man, the transmission, this thing is shot. I don't even want it. Like, it's trash.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Those are definitely some ideas, Coy. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm working on some other ideas as well, but
do you know when you had young toddlers and they would go stand in a corner and they would just stand really still and they'd get this grunting face and they're pooping?
I remember that.
Ben's been making that face for about 5 minutes now. He's been really quiet over there.
Oh, I was checking something that
He's checking something.
The adult version of that's when they're at a party and they've drank too much, so they go stand by themselves and think about if they're gonna puke or not, and just try to be quiet for a little bit, like breathe it out. And you're like, "Hey, bud, you okay? Like, want some bread?"
Leroy Overlanding says, "How about a 12 valve swap with a 5-speed manual, and then you swap an OBS Ford onto that engine and transmission?" My wife was actually definitely eyeballing Coy's truck. Can you pull that picture of Coy's truck up? She was eyeballing Coy's truck on this trip, and she's like, I like the look of that truck. Could we just get something like that? And I said, well, the problem is that it's not a 4-door, and our kids are at the age where they would only fit in that back seat for another year and a half. So we'd have to get a 4-door. And then Coy informed me,
absolutely hate driving that truck.
Oh, probably. But then Coy informed me that if you bought a 4-door diesel in this body style, it's like $22,000 to $25,000. So
people really like them a lot.
Oh yeah. And the 4-doors, they just jump in price.
And then all the maintenance that would be required because it's an old truck. So anyways, yeah, so that's what I've been up to. Blowing trannies. We also want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month. There's June's Patch of the Month.
Did we see July's yet? Did July's? Oh wait, no, it is June. Never mind.
No, I just got this one today.
Yeah, I haven't checked my mail yet. I feel stupid.
They always do a firework one in June, and then they do a 4th of July one, an additional 4th of July patriotic one in July.
That one's awesome. I like that one.
Yeah.
And can't forget our patches. We've got our Lumen Locker patch, which I'm trying. There it is. The Lumen Locker patch glows in the dark, along as well as our off-road off-road podcast patch. Wow, I can't speak English today. You can get those from us. Hit us up. $13 shipped here in the US for the first one, 10 for any additional, or pick them up from us in person here in Washington or Oregon, $10 each. Shoot us a message and we can hit through any of our channels and we can set you up with a PayPal link.
Have tire troubles ever left you deflated? Colby Valve has got you covered. Ever have a valve stem leak? Colby Valve makes reusable and easily replaceable valve stems that don't require you to remove your tire from the wheel. They work with your off-road rig, ATV, side-by-side, commuter vehicle, or even your tractor. Never be left stranded again because of a busted valve stem. They also have a tire repair kit for those punctures that keep you away from doing your favorite thing, wheeling. Make sure to check out colbyvalve.com or ask for them at your local off-road products store.
All right, let's jump into the news. Our first article comes from Motor Trend. The Krug, I'm assuming I'm saying that right, since that's exactly how it's spelled, but it just seems weird that that's what it's called. It's the Krug Expedition Bedrock XTR Ford F550 Overland Camper. This thing, pretty awesome, I'm not going to lie. The Krug Expedition is a Ford F550 based truck camper. It's a maximalist mindset sort of truck, and it looks the part. This is Krug's first offering for the U.S., and the Australian upfitter is going big. If anyone knows how to go big, it's Arctic Trucks, who consulted on the build for the customized Ford F550.
Can we
Arctic truck.
can we pause on this picture right here?
Yeah.
Because I got beef. What's wrong with this pickup truck?
Well, they didn't go a full 4-door. I'm gonna go there.
They didn't do 4 doors. What in the world? You got a 6x6 truck for 2 people?
Well, they
I
got
just-
the half
I don't
cab
know.
one. Like,
Yeah. Once again, like, what are you putting back there? That
Small.
doesn't even seem big. I don't even know if that's big enough for small kids.
and if we're gonna be totally honest, the people that are buying this, it probably is just
don't-
2 people, maybe some dogs.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe they don't need. Yeah, I guess so. I guess people
don't
with
have,
kids usually don't afford the.
yeah, they don't have children to spend money on, so therefore they're spending it on themselves.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah. Yeah, the price on this is pretty crazy, and we'll get to that in a second. Arctic Trucks, if you might recall, is an Icelandic outfit with several local shops, including an American branch that specializes in building trucks with massive low-pressure tires for Arctic conditions. The Bedrock XT2 lives up to the massive tire hype with 365 80/20 tires. What's that work out to in bald eagles? Like a 37 or 40?
If you read the next sentence.
Oh, sorry. That's nearly 44 inches in total diameter. Never mind, guys. I figured it out. You can see the immense front tire fenders and Arctic Truck signature. And although the rear tires, all 4 of them, are simply tucked under the camper overhang. It's a 6x4, which means the third axle isn't driven. It's there mainly to reduce ground pressure and to prevent this massive rig from quicksanding into whatever soft surface it's rolling over. Krug says the third axle reduces ground pressure by 25%. Drivers doing actual off-road stuff with the XT2 will likely appreciate any help they can get in that respect. It gets another set of OE F550 hydraulic brakes and to help slow this beast down, plus the Arctic Truck's 8-link rear suspension with air springs for on-the-fly suspension pressure adjustments. Details about
Did they have to say that they're hydraulic brakes?
you never know. Maybe it's pretty big. Like if they said air brakes,
Maybe it had air brakes.
Yeah. Details about the dimensions of the camper module, which attaches directly to the frame, are sparse, but it looks sizable as you'd expect from a total vehicle length of 263 inches and offers endless possibilities for customization. The sleeping area can fit a king-size bed, plus there's a full shower in the bathroom. Is there such thing as like a half shower, like all showers full shower? I don't.
It's a full
Right.
wet room.
That looks like a half shower to me. I don't.
Yeah, there's a toilet in the shower. I don't know. Maybe that's what makes it a full shower, is if you can use the bathroom while you shower, makes it a full shower. The sleep. You can do whatever within the floor space afforded, we're sure. In terms of camping essentials, there's a robust 118 gallons of fresh water, a Truma Combi diesel heating system, a 1,450 watt solar array with a 23 kilowatt lithium ion battery bank, and so on. Several standard and optional off-road features like limited slip differentials and automatic tire inflation systems are available. The Krug Bedrock XT2 starts at, have you guys read this price yet?
Oh yeah.
$690,000.
Starts
That's where-
at.
That's where it
That's
starts
before
at.
you're adding packages. Yeah.
And the limited slip diffs are optional at 600. Yeah.
I'm a little upset that it's just that not only does it just have limited slip differentials, but they're an optional thing. Like Leroy says, I could never off-road knowing that it's got a tag axle. Go ahead and put the limited slip in that differential because I don't care. I want I want a locker, and I want an actual locker in the rear.
Here's my deal. If you're just using it to lower ground pressure, I'll take dually. Just give me dually. Like what?
Yeah.
It'll be able to turn sharper. Like I have that many less moving parts, and I've never
It's gonna weigh
off-roaded
less.
something. I've never off-roaded something with tandems, or like something that was meant to be off-roaded. But anything I've driven with tandem axles, man, any articulation, of course, it has less ground pressure, but that usually just means you can't get good contact with the tires that do have power because it can't really articulate very well. But maybe this one articulates super well. Who knows? Looking at those fenders and how much it can tuck, I'm going to say this doesn't articulate at all. And it just looks cool with 6 tires. So
Well, it does
I would-
have
yeah,
the
prefer-
air suspension to raise and lower, so maybe
Yeah, because
that-
air suspension's so well known for articulating a ton, though.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I feel like this is just a cool factor more than anything. Like, why not? Why isn't it just a dually?
Probably trying to have to make custom wheels for it. I mean 44s, I've never heard of a dually on 44s.
Oh yeah, you can definitely. And I mean, even if you had to make custom wheels, I guarantee you that custom wheels are cheaper than adding a tag axle. Like custom wheels aren't that expensive.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
sure the tag axle's probably just as expensive.
And also looking at the actual camper part of it, doesn't it kind of look homemade the way it looks like there's angle iron around the top edges of everything? Like,
Well, that makes me think that it's all composite. It's not. It's like composite panels that are connected together with the outer seam, as opposed to like a traditional stick frame style.
yeah, but even like what is it? The ones that are made down in like Mississippi, adventure trucks.
Hoedowns.
The adventure is it the adventure truck or whichever the company that uses the big Ford expedition and builds a similar thing to this. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Earth Roamer?
Earth Roamer. Yeah.
Yes, Earth Roamer.
They're
uses
in
all-
Mississippi.
I thought they were. I could be
Wow.
totally wrong.
Okay.
Somewhere in the South, I thought. Google it and tell me that I'm wrong. But they use all like composite stuff, and their campers look like they're finished and not homemade. So
Colorado.
they're in Colorado.
Yeah.
No, I thought for some reason I thought they were somewhere because I remember listening to an interview and they use like yacht building stuff because the owner started near a yacht building place or something like that.
Boy, they're going to be upset when they find out that. I mean, they're not going to come on our podcast now that they found out you'd said they're in Mississippi.
Oh no, I'm sure so many of our listeners are ready to buy a $700,000.
There wasn't any good pictures of this. This is the only photo I could see. You can barely tell at the center of the photo to the left that maybe there's a hatch that gets you into the cab of the truck. And then there's definitely no interior shots of the truck, but I just wonder, can you go between them? There's no evidence. I went to their website to find out information, and there was nothing on their website either. So I don't know. I don't know if you can or cannot go between the cab and the camper.
Coy, are you talking about Truck House? Maybe I am. I could be thinking of somebody else. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, our next news story comes to us from Headlight News, and it is about the new Jeep Wagoneer S Trailhawk concept. So, the new Wagoneer S Trailhawk concept is a more rugged version of an all-electric Wagoneer S. Capable of rock crawling and deep water fording, it is designed to take on the same sort of challenges as gas-powered Trailhawk models do today. The Trailhawk badge is applied to only the brand's most rugged models capable of handling the most challenging off-road adventures, like the Rubicon and Moab. For the moment, the Wagoneer S Trailhawk may be a concept, but odds are a production version will follow. Several Jeep officials told Highlight News, and still other off-road EVs will also likely follow. Jeep says that the Wagoneer S Trailhawk, I don't know why, but that's a big mouthful, is designed to be the most capable EV in the world. So I can't wait to find out, to be honest. Doesn't seem like Wagoneers look like they'd be capable because they're huge and they're heavy, especially when they're all electric, but I guess we find out. Like the more mainstream version of the vehicle just going into production, it will use twin motor drivetrain, likely carrying over from its full-time all-wheel drive system. The Wagoneer S Launch Edition delivers 600 horsepower, 617 foot-pounds of torque, drawing that power from a 100 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery. It's expected to get more than 300 miles range once the EPA passes. Once the EPA issues its formal rating.
That's a lot of range for one of those.
Well, 100 kilowatt lithium ion battery seems pretty large also.
Yeah.
Specifics could change with a production Trailhawk, especially as the drivetrain would be optimized for off-roading. But what's clear is that electric motors are particularly suited for off-roading. They produce maximum torque virtually the moment they start spinning up, which we've talked about before. So when crawling over a log or a rock, you don't have to rev it up as you do with a internal combustion engine. There would still need to be plenty of work done to make the luxurious Wagoneer S stand up to the challenges of serious off-roading. The prototype Trailhawk gets an additional 3 inches of ground clearance along with substantially beefier tires. Look at those substantially
I like
beefier
that they're,
tires.
there's a lot of work for them to make it stand up to off. Regular Jeeps aren't even standing up to off-roading, much less an electric. Yeah. I mean, regular Jeeps, you got to change every part on it to stand up to off-roading. So,
the drivetrain and battery pack will have to be ruggedized to withstand impacts from rocks, stumps, and other debris, especially if your spotters bend. And the concept model would receive other revisions to allow it to ford deep water, much like a gas-powered Trailhawk. It will borrow elements from the Wrangler Recon, which we've done a news story on that quite a while back, which is an all-electric SUV that Jeep is working on. And it's also aimed at off-roaders, according to Ralph Giles, who is the design chief for Jeep's parent, Stellantis. The Wagoneer S Trailhawk concept gets a broad range of additional updates to the street-ready package, many of them likely to follow into production. So an integrated roof rack, a new design for front tow hooks, beadlock style tires. I'd sure like to know what beadlock style tires are. Maybe they meant beadlock style wheels. Self-healing paint, panic bars, additional interior storage nooks, and a new granite interior veneer. So those really help make it off-roady, I'll tell you what.
they're absolutely
Granite interior veneer.
nailing it. Jeep is hitting it out of the park. They're really, really leaning into their off-road heritage by trying to make other off-road vehicles than the one that's currently super popular. So
Yeah.
maybe if they cannibalize their own sales, they can actually get these to get bought.
I love the Cherokee headlights that it's essentially got. Looks like the cheap Cherokee headlights with these new headlights on it.
Yeah.
And then though the self-healing paint is kind of a cool thing.
Sure.
That's like,
nifty.
That is nifty. Just for what guys, care about their paint.
They mentioned a new design for front tow hooks. I'm curious, is it just a new design that Jeep is trying, or are they unique in some way that make them?
Well, I was going to say they're not red anymore, but the rear ones are red. So I'm guessing the front
No.
ones are maybe a
Yep,
different
front
color.
ones are
yeah,
red too.
yeah, they're
Oh,
red too.
Those
so-
are horizontal. The ones they have right now are vertical. So they changed the orientation, I'm guessing.
no, I don't think so.
I'm guessing maybe it's just for the Wagoneers, a new one for those.
Yeah.
But I've only seen like one Jeep Wagoneer, and my kid's friend's mom owns it. So
Going back to our last article, I was thinking of Global Expedition vehicles, and they are in Missouri.
Oh, that's really close to Mississippi,
Mississippi,
and
yeah.
they sound
close.
similar to.
it starts with an M. So
I'm assuming they do boat building, on the Great Lakes, but for some reason I was thinking Mississippi and like doing it on the Mississippi River or something. But yeah, so that's where I was thinking on that. So, and there's look, not homemade. So
Is Missouri on the? Missouri's in the middle of the country. It's not
it?
even touching any water.
yeah,
maybe it's on. Yeah, I don't know. I could be totally
that's
off.
where you see all the Salt Life stickers is Missouri and all this.
Salt life? Is it because they have to salt their roads in the
Yep.
winter?
I've seen like people with trucks and they have like the Salt Life stickers on them and they're like nowhere near water. I've seen them in Montana. It makes me laugh. Same with South Dakota. Then all I can think of is maybe they're talking about the roads.
Yeah, Missouri is one of the farthest states from any lake or ocean in the country.
They are the aluminum boat building capital of the United States, though. Weird.
Well, that's how about that?
Anywho, should we jump into our main topic?
Let's get in this
before I
main
drop
topic.
myself?
Yeah.
No, there's still plenty of time, Coy. The night's young.
All right. So let's talk dogs and off-roading and camping with them, huh? Because nobody takes their cats. Well, except I know one guy who does.
I really did want to make this topic like bringing your animals wheeling and camping, but I was like, what are you really bringing out there?
I know one guy that brings his cat,
three-
and he's a little weird.
Yeah, 3 people in the world bring cats, but like, there's like, what else you bring? An iguana because you can't leave it at home for a week, or I think you're not bringing other pets out there.
I'm gonna bring my parakeet. You know,
I would like it if I was camping and somebody brought like some giant parrot, just a big golden macaw or African gray or something. I'd find that entertaining.
It sounded like there were some monkeys camping near us last weekend. Turned out to just be
that's
those
true.
feral kids.
they are feral children.
We have a comment. Guys take their cats with them here, but for some reason they never bring them back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
my dad's family grew up with 2 squirrels or chipmunks that they raised from babies, and they would go camping with them. So I guess that's kind of another animal.
I feel like you'd go camping with it and then it would just disappear and never come back.
Be like, yeah, apparently it stayed with them. Yeah. Well, let's talk about where you're going. So if you're going wheeling, if you're going camping, are dogs allowed where you're going? Sometimes you don't think about it, but certain national parks or even private campgrounds are like, nah, don't want them, can't have them.
Some state parks as well, like wildlife areas.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the point where I think you got to get those vests for your dog that says that it's like you're seeing eye dog or something. You walk around with a cane, pretend like you need
You're
the
gonna
dog.
get me violently enraged. I hate that so much. I want to uppercut those people to the moon.
How do you know they don't need that? It's their whatever they call that dog.
Yeah, it's their
Or
emotional
pet.
support dog, so that they
That's
can
it,
have in their
emotional
apartment,
support.
even though they live in an apartment where no dogs are allowed. They're like, oh, I need this for my emotions. It's like
And my
I've known you
emotions,
since
yeah.
high school. The most you have no emotions. Like, oh, and then the same thing, so they can take it on the airplane. Oh, good. I'm glad that a dog pooped in the aisle when I was on the airplane. Your emotional support dog traumatized me when his dog poop inside a pressurized aluminum tube at 11,000 feet. How do you think my emotions are?
Nobody cares about our emotions, Koi. We're men.
Yeah.
No. Fair, but I just think it would be also, especially with the planes and the traveling, like there are a lot of people allergic to dogs. Like, why are your emotions more important than their ability to breathe? I mean, it seems like
They think so.
And if you're an adult and you can't handle an airplane without your dog, maybe this is something you should like talk to your therapist about and like work through so that you can continue your life. Because this dog is only going to live for a short portion of your life and then probably make you have more emotional problems and need more emotional dogs. And then my emotions just get more enraged. And I sit there and look at your little chihuahua and think about choking the life out of it with my bare hand. I mean, thinking, not acting, but yeah.
I would like to add, this is not targeted towards actual service animals.
No.
Well, technically they're all actual service animals, but people are just lying about it. You know what I mean? Yes, I get it. If you fought in a war and fireworks scare you and you need like, there's different things where they're real, but there's also things where you're like, yeah, high school was rough. And so now I have PTSD. It's like, you're ruining it for everybody. Don't be that person.
There you go. Do 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 do.
The more you know.
Or you know.
All right. Are they allowed out of the vehicle where you're at? Like Ben's saying, some of these wildlife areas, they don't want pets out there because they'll disturb the wildlife. But humans are okay to be out there petting the bison and stuff, but you can't have your dog out there.
Yeah. Actually, my wife was just talking to me because of Yellowstone. They were there was a guy that his dog ran in one of those pools and was like drowning, that thermal pools.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
drowning.
Well, it was cooking, and he jumped in to try and save it, and he got cooked as well. And neither
That actually happened at one of the hot springs that Koi and I have been to. And yeah, bad.
He jumped in with some General Tso's.
Yeah. Are they allowed to be off leash? The place that Koi and I were this past weekend, there were several off leash dogs, and the very first sign you see coming in says that all pets have to be on leashes. And then the last part is, are they allowed to be taken on like hiking trails around where you're at? So maybe they're okay in the campgrounds, but can they go on the hiking trails or to the beach or water areas that you're going to go visit while you're camping or wheeling? I stayed in a national park in Washington called Ohanapakash, and it was fine for us to have our dog with us, but when we went hiking, we couldn't bring the dog for the hiking portion. No dogs were allowed on the hiking trails. So yeah. Koi, you want to talk about packing the right gear?
So yeah, I've learned having multiple dogs now, it's definitely more stuff you have to pack. So do they need a crate? Like Aaron crates his dog. I don't crate mine, but he crates his, and that dog kind of needs that crate. Hammock, some people use like the hammocks, car seat covers, portable dog beds. You need a collapsible food and water bowl. Technically, you don't have to have a collapsible one, but I recommend it. Don't forget to bring dog food. And then also don't forget that all other wildlife also likes that dog food. So pick it up at night.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Travis Hudson says my service alligator is frowned upon in many places. You know that like the world's scariest bird that's like 4 foot tall and it just looks like it wants to hunt you down. They have this huge wide beak. Can't remember the name of them. You guys know what I'm talking about though?
Condor?
No. They're like some kind of barely able to fly African bird.
Oh,
They have a beak that's like 6 inches wide and like I don't know. They're just they look like they're
like
evil.
an emu?
No, I know what Coy's talking about. Their
They're
beak almost looks like a
technically-
wooden shoe.
Yeah, they're technically like some kind of eagle or something, I think. But
Oh.
I want one of those as a service animal, like an aggressive, angry pelican. Like I want a pelican that's big enough to hurt a human, basically. And then if we trained it to eat other service animals under a certain size. Let's see. Yeah, the dog food. Obviously, you got to bring water for your dog as well as you. And once again, I've known people whose dogs, they just pour it out of a water bottle into their mouth. Cool trick. My dog does not do that. Does not work. You just dump all the water on the ground. Leroy says, I think it's a pterodactyl. Yes, that as well. Small dragon. IONLs have a service animal as well. Does your dog have medication or need meds? Some people have dogs that need medication.
I know a
Please
guy
don't-
that had, Pete's old dog needed trazodone.
I don't know what that is.
Downers.
Can you get me some of it? Anyways, and some dogs need kind of a sedative just because they get too excited when they travel or whatever.
Yeah.
And then animal specific first aid kits. Yeah.
Which we have a link to in our show notes in case you want to go find one, or you could just type it into Google.
Yeah, and they're not expensive. It's this Cabela's one is $30.
And then an LED lighted collar. I don't have one of those for my dogs, but I kind of should get one. They're super nice at night. I don't really let my
I've
dogs
got
run super wild. Usually they kind of stay leashed up.
So as you notice, my dog is mostly black, and she will tuck her paws underneath her chest and sit just outside of the ring of fire at night. And so you're like, where is she? And you shout for her, and then she like you hear her shuffle, and she just shuffles into the firelight. So we got her one of those LED collars because we had like a tag that would hang on that we'd turn on, but the way she lays, it like gets covered up by her paws too, because she's just kind of down with her paws up by her chin. She's just gone.
Coy,
Yeah.
it's a Shoebill. Shoebill is the AK Ford fan. Did the research for you.
Ben, you should pull up a picture of that.
I will.
It just looks like a depressed heron of some kind that just wants everyone to die. And I just think that'd be nice to bring on an airplane. They're like 3 or 4 foot tall. And with me, like into the grocery store and stuff. And I don't know what they sound like, but just looking at it, I bet they make a horrible rackety noise.
Perfect picture here for you.
A leash and collar. Yes, that's what I want right there. That would be
That's it
the
right there.
perfect service animal for me. It's like a sinister Big Bird. Like, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. It's Big Bird's evil twin. That's the perfect service animal for me, I think. So you guys better hope that I don't have any emotional issues other than my issues with service animals, because I'm gonna get one of those.
Yeah.
Stick it on all y'all. Yeah, leash and harness. A lot of people use harnesses. They're nice to grab. I've seen a lot of people actually have like a vest for their dog, and they'll put the dog food, make the dog pack its own stuff. There'll be a water bottle and stuff in there. It's kind of nice. And then obviously you're going to need your leash, and then also something to tie him up. Like my dog at camp, I have, we call it a lead, but it's just like a 20-foot, and it's a tiny cable, like plastic wrapped cable, and then you can clip it to things and keep them nearby.
Yeah,
Keep them from visiting other campsites and so on and so forth.
I've got one of the ones that you screw into the ground with that lead, or I'll slap it on like my sliders, because I've got tube sliders. So I'll just wrap one end around the sliders. That way she has.
I always hook it to the sliders, but I really hope that I don't ever National Lampoon dog. That's a
I
dated
open the door, she goes to hop in, so she doesn't really let me get in the car without her getting in there, or at least having a chance to.
You can barely see it in this photo, but there's a green bag tied to my dog's back in this. So she wears a vest when we're out in public, and that green bag is one of her poop bags. So we can clean up after her. And this photo was taken in Crack in the Ground in Central Oregon, by the way.
ID tag on the collar. That is a must. Your dog can obviously run away, and it can't just run home, even if it's a dog that always comes home. And what are you going to do? Stay there for 3 weeks and hope it comes back? So ID tag on that collar. I've not had anybody find my dog and call me while I was camping, but I have found someone else's dog while I was at the dunes and got them their dog back. So then we have paw protection. If you're going to be hiking in really hot terrain or super rough terrain, dogs' feet are sensitive to heat and sometimes cold, depending on the dog. So they make little doggy shoes, something you might be interested in. They also make those like doggy goggles sunglasses, which I think are really cool, but I have no idea what use they have. But man, they look cool.
Those doggles, yeah.
Yeah. Leroy Overlanding says he puts an air tag on their dog so it can see their location on the phone. That's not a bad idea. We found a dog with an air tag one time and then spent 45 minutes trying to figure out how to use the air tag to tell the person that we had their dog. Turns out it doesn't work that way. So
It doesn't go backwards, huh?
yeah, I couldn't look it up and see who owned the air tag so I could try and get a hold of them. But eventually the dog we started walking around with it and it figured out what house it was.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Leroy's mom has a service dog.
Wow.
She
She probably has it because
your mom
because she gave birth to Josh. So she's got some emotional scarring.
she couldn't handle him anymore. Dog coat or sweater if camping in colder climates. Towels. This one I cannot stress enough. You gotta have some beach towels and stuff because all of a sudden dogs, they like to roll in things that you don't want to smell, but it clearly smells amazing.
I sent you that video today, Coy.
Yeah, homeless guy does what homeless guys do on the sidewalk, and somebody's walking by with their dog. I've never seen a dog so excited, like a husky diving into a snowbank. It did that into a bum turd, and then violently rolled. And it was a well-groomed, longer-haired,
white dog.
I would have killed the dog. I don't know what you do. You just
Tie them down and hose them and don't stop.
They were walking in the city. There's not a hose.
No, there's
you
not
just find a river to throw it in. I don't know. It's bum poo. I can't.
Yeah.
I love my dogs, but that might be the end for me. We might have to part ways. I just walk it to the pound and bring it inside. It's your dog now. I don't know.
This is your problem now.
When our dog rides in the truck, it lays down on either beach towels or blankets that are specific for the dog. That way, if it's dirty, you can just wash those blankets, and then you can also the dog gets car sick because it ate something it shouldn't have. You could try to throw the towel right where it's throwing up.
Like some chorizo so it doesn't end up in your cup holder.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Dogs also like to, not all dogs, but some dogs like to jump in bodies of water as soon as they see them. And then
my dog.
Gotta dry them off.
Yeah, you need to dry them off. So that's bring a towel and maybe a blanket or something. I used to always carry this wool blanket for my old dog.
So that's my my dog here in this picture. She's on her. We've got a thin dog bed that we bring camping with us. It's got a removable cover, and it's the second one we've had. We kept the removable cover from the first one, and I actually keep it folded up in the bottom of that one. So if it's really nasty, whatever she does, I can throw that in an outside bag or something, so that it's not nasty and smelly So one is at least clean for her, and we also keep a couple towels.
Leroy says technically it's a therapy dog. She goes into the hospitals in the area and visits all the patients to cheer them up. I'll give you a pass on that. That's fine. I hate the fake emotional dogs. It just drives me nuts.
Someone's pocket chihuahua.
Josh wants to know if that's all the same dog. There's two different dogs that we've been showing, and they look similar. That's my dog.
Well,
All black.
this is a little telling, Leroy. These are two completely different looking black dogs, but apparently they look exactly the same to you. So,
Are you saying he's racist?
Interesting. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying maybe you should look a little closer.
So mine's a what is she now? She's 12 years old now.
What kind of dog do you have?
Mine's German Shepherd mixed with something else. She's got a little bit of something else because she's short. She's way too short.
So Aaron's dog looks like it would be the kind of dog a cop would have with them, and your dog looks like it ate a cop.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, ours is a Eastern Bloc / Czechoslovakian German Shepherd. And the breeder we got her from does breed them for police work and bomb sniffing and all that stuff.
Yeah, the only thing mine can sniff out is food. But she knows a few tricks.
That's good.
And then also, guys, bring a couple toys or chew items for your dog. They're just going to sit there beside you in the campfire. Bring a little something for them. Don't forget that. Ball to throw, whatever it is that your dog loves. And then waste bags. I keep on the leash. I have a little packet of waste bags. Keep them somewhere somehow. But for me, it's more convenient to keep them on the leash. But however you want to do it.
Yeah, we keep one on the leash, and then we have an extra one that we keep in the 4Runner or whatever car we're in, just in case, where'd the leash go if she's not on leash at the time, or we run out, because it always sucks when you run out, because those little bags are handy. So for our next thing here is make sure your dogs don't disturb other campers around you. Keep your dog on the leash if the park requires it. Don't be that guy, because I'm sure you'll get a ticket.
Yeah, make sure your dog is better behaved than the feral kids that Koya and I dealt with last weekend.
Yeah. Prevent your dog from jumping on others. Besides the fact of whatever your dog stepped on, you could potentially hurt someone. Make sure your dog isn't barking excessively. Yeah, we know dogs bark as dog owners, but you can also look at your dog and be like, shh, or try and quiet your dog down. Just don't let them just sit there and keep going. Clean up after your dog. Obviously, don't be that guy to leave your dog's crap just in the middle of wherever, because again, it's kind of like treading lightly. Well, it is treading lightly, Clean up after yourself. Your dog's crap does not belong on the trail or in the middle of a trail or literally anywhere except in the trash.
I could see, like, if you're beating brush and you're not on a trail anywhere and there's no trails around, I think your dog can just poop wherever. That's fine.
Look,
my dog likes to
poop. If it's a place where you could poop whatever, then it's okay for your dog to too.
Yeah,
I think that's a good rule.
My dog, it's a fun thing when we have our family camping. Usually it's at a lake somewhere, and we'll get the dog on a long lead, or if there's nobody around, she doesn't have to be on a leash. We'll throw the ball. She's in the water, getting the stick in the water, the ball in the water, and it gets her all worked up, gets her guts going. And then she likes to poop in the water. That's the worst place to try to pick poop up, is out of the lake, just so you know. Yeah, just a fun story.
That does sound horrible.
Yeah.
It's as bad as children.
I think a nice thing for people to remember is, like, everybody kind of likes dogs for the most part, except for psychos. But, like, you love your dog like a family member generally, but not everybody else loves it like a family member. It's just another dog. Like, they don't have that And people sometimes seem to forget that they just bring their dogs places like this. This is you love this dog, not these other people. And you kind of remember that they can definitely inconvenience others.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this next list is pretty small, but this is the whole reason why you brought your dog is the activities that you can do with your dog while you're out camping. So hiking, if, like I said, if the trail allows it, you bring your dog on those trails while you're hiking around. If you're somewhere, lake, creek, river, ocean, your dog goes out and plays in the water.
Just a puddle.
Or a puddle, yeah, a filthy mud puddle that they sit down and roll into.
Uh-huh.
There's always those.
Oh yeah.
Or deep snow. My dog loves to like pronghorn through snow, just like it's anteloping along. It's kind of fun. Or playing fetch. That's not all dogs play fetch. Thankfully, our dog, that's a good way for us to exercise our dog is to throw a very specific type of ball for her. Those look like the same shorts my son was wearing in a different photo. That's pretty crazy. Boom. I guess they're a little bit different.
Yeah,
Same
a little
kind of
bit.
color.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Yes, not all dogs play fetch, and obviously you're going to know if your dog plays fetch or not. And then off-roading and exploring. Some dogs do better with this than others. My dog, after a little bit of bouncing around, she'll just lay down. Just not exciting for her. She just lays down in the back seat. But other dogs are just super excited about that. They'll be looking out the window and crawling around in your rig and things. So, yeah, that's your activities.
Yeah, mine likes to hang her head out the back window and just kind of look around.
Huff the fumes.
Yep, huff that gas or exhaust.
All right, guys, what to do if your dog gets lost or injured? Don't panic. Panicking can lead to poor decisions. So take a deep breath, take a calm thought, Search the immediate area. Dogs, a lot of times, don't go too far. A lot of times they're just laying under the vehicle or something, and you just don't see them initially, and then you go into panic mode, start running around calling for your dog, and realize it was just 20 feet away, taking a nap. Start by searching the area where your dog was last seen, call their name, listen for any sounds, bring a familiar item, bring your dog's favorite toy, blanket, or a piece of clothing that smells like you. The familiar scent may help draw them back. Don't I smell like me though? Like, why would I have to bring if I don't know, seems like weird advice. Use a whistle or call loudly. If your dog responds to a specific call or whistle, use it. The sound may travel further than your voice. Enlist help. Ask fellow campers, park rangers, or anyone nearby to assist in the search and provide a clear description of your dog. Check
I feel like,
areas.
do you have to, I mean, you're going to tell them what your dog looks like, but are they going to just be finding random dogs like, oh, no, this one's not his dog, so we don't need it. Oh, here's another one. No, that one doesn't look like his dog. They're not going to be finding dogs everywhere.
Yeah,
you can just tell me if they're a lost dog.
It helps if you tell them like a breed or something.
Yeah.
Like, hey, my German Shepherd, she's all black or mostly black.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you'll give them a description, but if you find a loose dog running around, it's a good chance it's that dog.
Yeah.
Leroy in the comments said shake food in a bowl for your dog or koi, and we'll come running. Also, yes, yeah, like I'm attracted to food, obviously. Check common areas. Dogs may attract places with food or other animals, so check picnic areas, trash bins, water sources. Notify authorities. Post on social media if you have to. Contact local shelters. Use technology. If your dog is microchipped, ensure contact information is up to date. Use GPS tracking devices if your dog wears one. I don't think anybody's going camping with a GPS device on their dog, but if your dog has a GPS device, it's not lost.
It's not lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's running
It's
from
just-
you.
It may be 4 miles away chasing a bear, but it's not lost. Stay at the campsite if possible. Stay at the campsite overnight. Dogs often return to the last place they saw their owners. Keep checking, continue searching, and calling out for your dog periodically, especially during the quieter times like early morning and late evening when your dog might be more likely to come out. And I honestly, that would be a horrible feeling if you were camping out in the middle of nowhere, not in like a campground. You're just primitive camping in BLM and your dog runs off because it's 20 miles or whatever to the next road. Like you can't just stay there forever. Like I have a little bit of a story. I had a basset hound and she was fairly young. This was years and years and years ago. And we were doing one of the Oregon backcountry discovery routes. And she was always kind of scared of guns, but as she got older, she got even more and more scared of them. She never got to where you could really shoot around her. And we had a little 17. We're in some rock pit, like just in the mountain range somewhere. And we're shooting a 10 can, had it out like 100 yards, somebody 17, just a little tiny rifle. And we knew she didn't like it. And she went under my vehicle and was kind of hunkered under there. But, that's where she was. And she wasn't chained up. She was just sitting under there. She didn't like it. And the girls were all kind of sitting by the truck. And she was 6 feet away from them. And we got done shooting. And then I think it was my wife or somebody's like, "Where's Minnie?" I'm like, "Yeah, she's under the truck." Oh, she wasn't under the truck anymore. And I mean, we're miles from anything. So we start calling and nothing. And so I kind of searched the immediate area and nothing. But it was a very steep hillside and then a flat spot alongside the road was probably 100 feet wide flat area and then a steep drop off on the edge of the road. And it went uphill from where we were at. We were shooting on the downhill side. So I said, I don't think she's going to run up this steep hill. I don't think she's going to run down the other side. So she's in this flat area on the road. She can't be that far. So my other buddy, we jumped in his truck and he drove me up the road about a half mile. I just walked into this strip of trees between the road and the steep hillside. And I just started pushing back towards camp, calling her. And about a quarter mile from camp, she come busting out, wagging her tail, and I got her. As I was going up there, my wife was like, she's like dressing me down. She's like, "Listen, this is our last day. You're gonna have to tell her bye. Like, you can't," because I had only looked for maybe 20 minutes around camp. She's like, "You're gonna have to call it." Like, she was just
After 20 minutes,
it wasn't long. She was just like trying to prepare me, and I'm like, "I can look for a couple hours." Like, she's like, "We gotta go back today." I'm like, "I think I'll look for a little bit. Just give me a minute." And I found her, but it was one of those moments where I'd never really thought about it until that moment when it was like, what do I do? Like, I love that dog was my dog. And it's I love that dog more than any other animal I've ever owned, including the one I have now. It's more my kids' dogs, but that dog was mine. And it would have been incredibly difficult for me to leave, but like I had a job the next day. Like you could call in sick for a day or two, but like, what are you going to do? So it definitely made me think a little bit more responsibly after that. And it may not be nice, but when I'm camping, my dogs are on leads 99% of the time. They're chained to a tree or something. Even if like the dog I have now, it's never chained up at home. My old dog, I did have it fenced in, and she never leaves. But I just, if they run off while you're camping, man, they're gone. So she's chained up the whole time when we're camping, unless somebody's actively working with her.
I've got a friend, he went camping. He had a smaller dog, or at least younger dog, and it ran off into the woods. And they heard it like scream and cry, and they never found it. He believes it was a cougar that got his dog.
Wow. Yeah, it's probably a coyote, but yeah, very possible.
Some wildlife got it.
Something wild got it because they didn't find any traces or anything.
I've also heard of up in Alaska, like if you have little Chihuahua-sized dogs, like eagles will just bam gone. Like you don't even see it coming. Like it can be right beside you and it's just immediately gone.
It's happened here.
A shoe bill comes by and grabs it.
I'm sure other people have shoe bills in America besides me. That's nothing. I have nothing to do with your tiny sport animal disappearing. How dare you?
Yeah. Well, I was going to mention that it's important for you to know your dog. Like Coy knows that his dog at the time, that dog, he's got a new one now. didn't like gunfire. My dog definitely doesn't like gunfire either. I also know that my dog hates everybody other than our family, and she's supposed to hate everybody but my family. So we're very cautious and careful with who we let her around or how long of a lead she's on. When we put her in her harness, she actually changes to a different dog. It's kind of weird. She's got a split personality. When she's in a harness, she knows she's got a job to do, and she'll sit around the campfire with other people around the campfire rather than barking viciously at them. But we also make sure to keep, if someone's going to walk past or a kid's going to walk by to grab the marshmallow roasting stick or whatever, we cinch up on the leash, or we'll step in front or put a barrier between the dog and other people. So it is really important for you to know your dog and to act accordingly. Don't, if your dog is one of those dogs that'll stick around camp and it's super chill and you don't have to keep it on leash, then don't keep it on leash. It's, your dog's good enough, it's not going to run away. But my dog probably wouldn't run away, but maybe would chase after people, which wouldn't be good.
I don't
Yeah.
think
Gotta know
my
your
dog
dog.
would run away, but it would visit every other campsite in the campground. And, that's not really fair to those people. And also,
Yeah.
the other thing that I do worry about, and another reason why I really keep my dog leashed up, especially when I'm camping Central Oregon, there's essentially no rattlesnakes in the valley where I live. It's very rare someone ever finds one here. Eastern Oregon, they are extremely common. And I'm honestly not 100% sure what you do when your dog gets bit by a rattlesnake. I've seen a lot of funny pictures.
You suck the poison out, don't you?
Not the dog I have now. I ain't gonna, but so that's definitely something to think about. There's the entire, large tracts of America have poisonous snakes, and if you aren't from that area,
Venomous.
sorry, venomous, yeah. Well, it's all technically poisonous if you eat their head, but yeah. So and if your dog's not aware of it, I know in other places where people train their dogs, not to mess with the snakes and stuff, but it's definitely something to think about if you're traveling.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
They do have anti-venom for dogs. It costs between $400 and $800 a vial. And it takes an hour to infuse one vial, and more than likely your dog's going to need another vial. Though 25% of rattlesnake bites don't contain venom, you shouldn't take a chance with that.
Wait, 25% of rattlesnake bites don't contain venom?
So that means 75% do.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance I could get bit by a rattlesnake and just walk it off like a super bad to the. So next time I got bit, I can just be like, hey, there's a 25% chance.
Yeah.
I can just keep camping here and just act cool, and people will think I just walked off a rattlesnake bite.
Yeah, you need to rinse it off and all that, but there's also a chance of other infections and stuff.
Well, that's after the camping trip, though, like a couple days out. Like I could walk off being cool. The guy that got bit by a snake at camp and then drank 97 Twisted Teas. Moved on.
My dog, so the gal I got her from had gone, she would go run a lot, like 5 miles at a time, stuff with friends, and they took her one time and they were running through the woods, and she saw a squirrel or something and chased after it, and they spent several hours looking for her, and they had given up and they were headed back to the vehicles, and she was sitting in front of her car. So
also, I would remind people, I don't know really nationwide, but in the Northwest, much worse than this. Like, you hope your dog gets bit by a snake instead of this. Skunks.
Oh. Yeah.
You can't. I don't think you can train a dog not to run up to a skunk, because skunks are unhindered by any animal. I've never seen a skunk run. They don't care, and they just turn around and blast who or whatever it is with the worst smell in the world. And then if you're 50 miles up in the mountain and 2-hour drive home and you have an SUV, it's not going to be cool. So just wildlife is a thing.
Yeah, and they skunks are distantly related to cats. It's the only reason my dogs chase after them, right? Yeah, my
Yeah, that'd
dog.
be awful. That would be very awful.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not as bad as I went to Tahuyo with Ava, and I opened the door, and she jumped out and jumped right into a mud puddle and rolled around in it. And this is like diff fluid and whatever other crap is in that puddle, and she just she got out of it, and she was nasty. I had to bathe her like twice to get her somewhat
bet.
clean. And then
You take
I
her
fed
down
her.
take her down to Mud Lake to wash her.
Yeah, pretty much. That doesn't even help. No, that place is just as bad. And then I fed her chorizo, like leftover breakfast burrito stuff, and we were on our way down from snow camping, and she threw it all up, and it was in like my side door pocket. I mean, hey, it wasn't on the carpet, but it was so terrible. It smelled so bad. Drove
That's
with me.
awful.
Yeah.
Travis Hudson said, my old boss had to all but remodel his house after his dog snuck a dismembered skunk in. We had a lab mix dog as a kid, and this thing would constantly get into it with the skunks, but he wasn't aggressive enough to actually kill a skunk. He just wanted to bark really close proximity to him and like chase him off. Which every time the skunk would just turn around and blast him right in the face from 2 feet away, just point blank.
You'd think you'd learn after a while.
Literally powder burns on his ears from the skunk. And then, you felt sorry for him, but it was the most hilarious thing. He would run across the grass, and he would his front legs would go limp, and he'd turn his head down so his face and like forehead were on the grass, and then run with his back legs like wheelbarrowing, trying to rub off the skunk mace. And he would do laps like that. It was horrible, but you couldn't help but laugh.
Oh, we don't kink shame here, Coy. Dog wants to be sprayed in the face. Dog wants to be sprayed in the face.
Gary Warnett says, I don't know what was worse, driving 4 hours back home with the windows down, the dogs sprayed by a skunk, or the stopped up cats on the 4Runner. Oh, cat! He must be like the catalytic converter smell. Yeah, it's something to think about. Skunks are nasty.
Yeah. Cats can be pretty stinky too. Catalytic converters. Well, I guess cats as well. My wife's father had some cats. I mean, their family had cats, and he used to fly those powered parachutes. The one that Coy wants to use in a slow dog fight with paintball guns. The tricycles with the fan on the back and the parachute that goes over top. He used to fly those things, so he also had some helmets and stuff. And every once in a while, there would be one cat that would pee in his helmet, his flight helmet, and get pretty upset about that.
I would be too.
Yeah, that would be the cat you took camping and didn't come home with you.
Why would you even bother wearing a helmet while flying?
I don't make the rules, Coy. He was definitely a rule follower. Very much a rule follower.
Did he wear a helmet when he flew in like a commercial plane?
No,
I was curious.
Not that I know of. So, yeah.
I would guess that it would be not so much for while you're flying; it's for when you're landing that you need the helmet.
In case you roll it.
I mean, that's technically all. For sure, that's all helmets been like. Yeah, it's for the sudden stopping. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Well, you guys have any more dog stories? Anything you can think of before we close her out?
I've got one more, and this is why I use a harness for my dog. We were in Montana camping with her, and I was taking her for a walk around the park, and someone's other dog broke off their leash. It wasn't even a leash lead. It was like a piece of string.
Wow.
And it was this little yappy dog, but it went for her throat. And instead of allowing my dog to kill the dog, because my dog is very quiet, peaceful, very gentle. My kids have fallen off the back of the couch onto her, and she just gets up, moves across the room, sighs, and lays back down. But this is the only time I've heard her growl, and it was a scary growl, and I had to pick her up by her harness and hold her in the air and be like, please don't kill this dog. And let all these, because it was like this little kid's dog.
Yeah.
And she's a 80-pound German Shepherd. Like, no, don't hurt that dog. Like, I get it. It deserves to die, but no, don't do it. So yeah, and the harness was the only thing that made it able so that I could grab her quickly and kind of gain control of my animal. Because that's the thing is, I mean, you're responsible for being in control of your animal. So just because someone else's dog got out of it, you can potentially get your dog out of the situation.
Just because it's a funny story. Not really do with camping, but it's funny. Oh, it's funny for me. Dog story. My dad had hunting dogs when I was a kid, and he had a Chesapeake, which is kind of like a big golden retriever that's a little more aggressive. It was a big dog, and it was super. We had ducks and all kinds of farm animals. Any animal that was on our farm was totally cool with. Like, there's pictures of ducks sitting on this dog. Our kids would climb on it. We'd feed it. Never nothing. But any animal that came onto the property that he didn't consider his, immediate death sentence. Just immediately kill it.
Oh, straight up farm dog, huh?
It knew which animals were his, and everything else just no mercy. It immediately killed. You know how dogs,
like guardian farm dogs or something like that.
I don't know. They're like a bird hunting dog, but that's just this one's.
Well, I've heard of people that like that's how some people have their dogs trained for like farms, like if they have sheep and chickens and all that, it's to like protect them from other stuff.
Oh, I'm sure, but
obviously that's usually a specific breed though.
Yeah,
and they call it a livestock guardian dog.
This dog was cool with like my dad's other dogs. We had a couple Cocker Spaniels, and it was cool with those dogs. But anything else, just not cool with. And so the Cocker Spaniels just ran around free roam, but that dog had to be on a run. And my dad went out to feed it one sunny Sunday morning. You know how dogs kind of get in the dirt, and they have these little wallows that dusty dirt they get down in and sit in the sun. He walks out there, and there's this little wiener dog all tucked up against his chest. And the dog's name was Jake. And he was like, "Oh, Jake, you made a friend. Good boy."
Nope.
And the dog wakes up,
Nope,
reaches down, grabs the limp wiener dog that came from there, runs over and drops it at my dad's feet. It's like, "No, Jake, no."
Whoops.
So, I don't know why. I just always like that story, even though somebody probably lost their, well, for sure, somebody lost their pet. But
yeah. Whoops. Yeah. All right. I don't have any more stories either. I'm sure I'll think of some more after we're done, but we love to take our dog camping, and she likes to have fun in all the water and all the snow and go on hikes. So we don't send her to doggy camp while we go camping and have fun without her.
Yep, they're part of the family. You gotta take them with them.
Mm-hmm.
Take them with you sometimes.
Yep.
Sometimes it's inappropriate.
Oh, I do have a fun dog story. When we went on our trip, and I've told the story before, but when we went on our overlanding trip last fall with a big group of people down the McGrew Trail, an hour and a half in, I don't even know if it was that short into the trail. My wife and I in the front seat, the dog had the whole back seat to itself. Dog stepped on my fire extinguisher and let the whole fire extinguisher rip inside the cab of my Nissan Frontier. So that's fun.
Let's go.
It's good times.
Yeah, and we've got friends that bring their dogs. Like this is a picture of Rick with his dog Zeg. Ziggy?
Yeah.
Zeg? Oh, can't remember. And then,
yep.
Yeah. Well, next week we're talking camp food. All sorts of fun concoctions we've made and other stuff.
New things we want to try.
New things we definitely want to try. Yeah, just
videos we've seen on Facebook.
Yeah. So we'll have have fun talking camp food next week.
And like I say every week, I want to thank everyone who listens to us every week. We appreciate you guys. We love it when you're watching. We appreciate the comments. We're live on YouTube every week, same time. Make sure you're sharing us with your friends and helping us grow. God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren Colby Valve and 4 Patriots to see all of their great products. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our Linktree account or by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, and be safe and courteous. Thanks for listening.
I just Googled it. Shoebill birds are actually super tame and cool with humans, but wildly illegal to own since there's only like 3,000 left.
What?
It turns out they're not aggressive to people though. Like you can walk up within 6 feet of a wild one. So
That's a bummer.
kind of a bummer because I need it to be a little bit meaner than that. But I don't know if it really has to be. Just looking at it, no one's coming around it.
A bird looks at you like that, you don't want to go play with it.